All right, what's up? Time for Power Talks. All right, let me pin this comment. Let me put my boom. Hopefully I spelled everything right. Pinned. All right, there you go. So time for Power Talks. Sorry, I'm a little late. My guys down. I think I told you I'm having construction in my house, and I saw the guys. They were kind of on a lunch break, and I, I said to them, "Will you be doing a lot of banging?" And they said, "No, we're not going to be doing banging. We're going to just be doing a lot of screwing." Well, then they said, "Then we'll get to work." But you'll be hearing a lot of screwing in the background. So, putting in the screws into the beams. Get your head out of the gutter, please. Thank you. All right. So now it is time for. What's up? Thank you. I am Daka. I'm sorry I couldn't see all that, but I love you back. So I am going to, as you know, I always bring on two subjects that I think that we can all learn from in, today's Power Talks. And today I'm going to bring on two of my guys. Let me see who I'm bringing on first. I'm going to get right into it. So I hope you jumped right on to it so that we can. I'm bringing on John right now first. All right, but let me, as I always do, and I'm going to see if he's in the waiting room. Let me see. There he goes. Okay, cool. So let me just read who he is so that you can understand, and then you can obviously have maybe some questions you could throw in there. But of course, I'm going to try to ask some good questions that we can all learn from. So Don Marino, he signed up for an email promotions from a brand in 2003, and shortly after, he decided that he wanted to leave his career as an engineer and build a business in digital marketing. That's in 2003. Think about that. He struggled to really commit to digital marketing, but in 2009, he took the plunge, learned the necessary high income skills. I want to know what high income skills are, especially in today's world. But in 2009, he took the plunge and learned the high income skills. And he was taking clients on in 2014, founded and is now the CEO of QU Simple and the creator of AMP, a strategic monetizing content. AMP focuses on attracting an audience, developing a relationship with them, and introducing products to them that enrich their lives. QU Samples helps content creators use their content to amplify their impact and drive sales. So they're using content to drive sales, even if they don't have a product. Now that's something that I want to really dig into. How can you monetize your content if you don't have a product? It's hard enough for all of us who have a product to get people to buy it. But now you don't even have a product and he's teaching you how to do that. Well, his strategies and campaigns have grown just one of his clients' businesses by 23 times in 6 months, generating a month's worth of sales in 4 days, and turns YouTube videos into revenue generators without YouTube monetization. Offers his consulting services to us at the Shark Group, and he helps me, of course, with Daymond on Demand and messaging and various other things. But I'm going to now bring him on and see how we can learn from those things, because it's such a big and crazy world out there. So a lot of times when I read that type of stuff, it just sounds general. So I want to get down and dirty with him and hear what's going on. All right, there he comes. Right. What's up, brother?
Hey, Damon, how are you?
I'm good, man. How you doing over there?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me on.
No problem. So you played some instruments, I see.
Yeah, I picked up the guitar when I was a kid. I remember the first song I learned, it was a Nirvana song, and my dad gifted me that guitar a couple of years later.
I remember this guy got on, he was on Shark Tank, and he was just this boisterous guy, and he was like, yeah, I'm from LA, Lower Alabama. And he was like, you know why, you learn to get, you got to learn to play the guitar. And we were like, why? He was like, well, the chicks. That's the only reason. Is that the reason why you learned it, or?
It was really an interest in the music itself, actually. And then as I grew a little more, it became about the chicks, but it didn't really work for me, actually, to be completely honest. I mean, I played in some bands in college, and we toured around New York State when we lived up there, and you know, the chicks didn't work for me in that case. I
Oh,
was in
listen.
engineering school. I mean, I was a nerd, man.
Yeah, well, that's even better to learn that, but even maybe not for the attracting somebody, maybe it's just a soothing way also, right? To just zone out, right?
It was a way to zone out. It was, yeah.
All right, so I'm going to get right into it with you. Why would you go to engineering school and have a career as an engineer? And in 2003, digital marketing. First of all, we'll get into what that means. But why would
Sure.
you have a career as a nerd doing this and that, and then say in 2003, you know what? I'm going to try to start being a digital marketer. And did you immediately jump into being a digital marketer, or did you casually do it as you were doing your day job?
It's interesting. I was always selling things when I was a kid. My mom got a call from the principal in 7th grade because I was selling candy to the kids at lunchtime and things like that. I had tried to make a clothing business actually when I was in high school, and it didn't really work, but I liked the process of trying to figure it all out. And then I was approaching our band in college as a business. So I was putting together promotional packs and sending those out, and well, our messaging isn't quite right. Even though I didn't really get it, I knew that I had to do something. I knew that I had to communicate something bigger than the music itself. And then oddly enough, a friend of mine in 2002 invited me to a multi-level marketing sit-down presentation just to see what he was doing, because he was new. He wanted my opinion, and I sat down, and that event right there is what changed everything for me, Daymond. Because in engineering school, it's all about math. It's all about the numbers. It's all about like understanding these big abstract concepts. And I didn't read. I wasn't a reader. I barely wrote any papers or anything like that in college. Maybe I read maybe 20 books all the way through. I got through a lot of school without reading books. And then I was like, I'm all in on this multi-level marketing company. And that's when I started reading. And I started reading Failing Forward by John Maxwell. And I started reading Think and Grow Rich, which comes up a lot in conversations like this. And then I was sitting down with a friend because I wanted to do something with business and with my engineering, and that was the channel that I believed was going to work for me. But while I was going through and doing designs and working as an engineer, it just drained my energy, and my energy sucked, and I never got anything off the ground.
Well, so I think there are a lot of things to unpack there, and we have a limited amount of time, but I think there's
Sure.
so many nuggets there. So first of all, I think that all parents should inspire their kids to sell something at school. I don't care. Sell something
I
at
think
school.
so.
You have a captivated audience right there. You learn the ability to sell. You learn at a young age how maybe you don't have to stress mommy and daddy for things, that if you really want it, you can earn it, and you get your selling down. Sell, 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 sell. I sold at school. You sold at school. Gary Vee
Yep.
sold at school. Almost all the kids I know that sold something at school ended up becoming somebody who followed a career, and they also knew that they could take care of their parents instead of their parents and taking care of them. The next thing to learn or ask is, why did you go into engineering school in the first place? Was that because society told you, your parents told you? Why did you, I'm not going to say it's a mistake, because we can't look back at things we did
Yeah.
as a mistake, but you obviously did not have a strong passion for some aspect of it. So why did you do it in the first place, and why did you have the balls enough to stop doing it even after you were so deep in the water?
Those are great questions, and I had the most supportive parents with regard to selling and such. I sold to help fund some things in some sports programs that I was in, and I won trips to camps and stuff like that as a result. I mean, I was really well supported. And as far as engineering school, I think that's what I thought I was supposed to do.
Right.
I liked math and I liked science, so they put in front of me this engineering concept, and I said, yeah, that seems pretty cool. I guess I'll ride this wave. And that's what I was doing in a lot of ways. I didn't have, in my opinion, a very strong direction. Even though I had very supportive parents, I didn't have a strong direction into what I wanted, but it was more about what I kind of maybe wanted, but I was being floated down this path.
All right. Well, let's talk about digital marketing now. When somebody
Sure.
says I'm a digital marketer, I mean, that could mean anything,
It's so many things.
right? So what is generally digital marketing, and then what is your specific area of digital marketing, and break down how that differentiates or how that gets specific from, from the general concept of it. You know what I mean?
Sure, absolutely. And, it's advertising online, essentially, is the way that I look at it. It's marketing online. It's marketing in the inbox. It's marketing on social media. It's marketing on most things electronic, I would say. So what happened with me is that same friend, oddly enough, that invited me to that multi-level marketing presentation. A few years later, I moved from New York. I live in Phoenix now. And he came out to visit me because he was playing online poker, and he was playing professionally, and he was teaching me how to do that. And I shared with him this email list that I was on, and he was like, wow, that guy's a really good marketer. And I was like, holy crap, that's what he's doing. That's the business that I want to be in. And so, like you said in the opening, I restructured my life. So I left engineering in 2009, and I went to school to go learn something else that I could sustain myself with, essentially. I learned a whole other career while I was also learning digital marketing at that time. And then, like you talk about in The Power of Broke, I wasn't quick to leave my day job. I stayed with my day job for a very long time after that, while I was taking clients full time. And I was doing everything. I was doing everything from Facebook advertising to email marketing to building complex marketing funnels to helping people with their websites to building websites and all these different things. And I found out as I was going through this that the best way to start really helping people was just strip off things and really focus on the one thing that people really need. And if I wasn't able to help them with the one thing that I was doing, that I would be able to introduce them to the right people that could help them.
Well, I want to know a little bit, because it's something that obviously drew our company's attention to you, and somebody just asked a very similar question that touches on this. This person right here is called Hana Belucci _collection. Sorry, I don't know. I'm sure I just killed that name, but he or she says, I've had millions of views, but not a lot of customers. Now, when I read your bio, your quick little bio, it basically said, you can have people monetize their content even if they don't have something to sell. So explain what that means. And a lot of times I know YouTube pays you for your amount of views, but you're saying you're not talking about YouTube, are you? Or are you? Are you talking about the YouTube cash, or are you talking about other cash?
I'm talking about other cash. So you can use whatever platform you want that will help expand your reach, essentially. So you could use Facebook Live, you could use Instagram Live, you could use YouTube, you could use podcasts, all these different platforms. And what you end up looking for is you end up looking for sponsorships, affiliate programs, and joint ventures with other people. That's where the products fit in. So AMP stands for audience, message, and products. So what we're doing is the people who are out there getting 1 million views and not making any money, a lot of times they have a really good message and their audience is resonating with that message, and they've developed a relationship and a rapport with their audience over the time that they've grown it. And now they have a group of people who know, like, and trust them, and they can go and offer other people's products and services for a commission or at a flat rate or something like that. It would be kind of like if maybe I have a fashion type of Instagram or something like that, and I contact you and say, hey, could I wear some FUBU products on my Instagram, and I'll tag you in it. That's my offer to you. It could be something as simple as an affiliate program where you're offering products. It could be anything. It could be vitamins.
And
It could be anything.
do I need to before I and that's a really good point right there, because I always have something to sell, right? I got one of my Shark Tank products or this and that. Now,
Sure.
for those people listening right now or watching right now who have followings, and whether it's 100 people or 100,000 or 2 million, when I approach that target, I go, okay, Fubu, Mr. Daymond John, you know what? I like this product and I was going to wear it anyway, but you know what? Let me see if I can get some money out of this. Do I need to set up my referrally or my whatever my refer program is? Because what if Daymond John does not have a referral program, but you want to make it really easy to me and say, no, here's what I do. Once I tag it, the person buys it, and I know I get 10 or 20% off of it. Do I need to set up a system or a software or a link myself if that person doesn't have on that side, the provider of the goods, if they don't have it set up? Like, how do I do that?
One way that you could do it is by negotiating like a flat rate for promoting your product. So, hey, Daymond, I get 1 million views on my videos on a regular basis. That means that there's probably several, tens of thousands to 100,000 maybe people that might be interested in your type of stuff. My audience is really big. My reach is really far. I'd love to say, hey, I really love this. The Shark Tank. I watch the Shark Tank all the time.
But how do I know? How do the people here know and can protect themselves that they will get their accurate commission? Because what if Daymond John is like Mr. Wonderful and he goes, oh yeah, only 4 people bought when really 100,000 people bought, and then all of a sudden you just lost, 100,000 times $1, right?
Sure.
How do they protect themselves against that?
So instead of getting an affiliate commission on that type of scenario, what you would do is you would get you would sign a contract and essentially get payment to get in the queue to be promoted on that person's show. It'd be kind of like if you were doing a television ad. Like, you run a television ad, you don't know if you're going to get any sales off of it. The television company isn't coming back to say, hey, we sold 1,000 of your products, where's our money? You're doing that all on the front end, and then you're running it like a promotion like that, like a radio ad.
Right, but and I'm sure people listen, they can follow you to get more information, obviously, because
Sure.
I want my people here to say, no, I have the contract set up. It's a 5-line contract.
Sure.
I have the affiliate links set up, and I'm just going to call 10 people a day, and one person may do a deal with me a day, one person every 2 days. You know what? Over the course of the next month, I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing, and whether it's them or their kids, I don't know why, because my daughter right now watches these kids on YouTube all day long. So a lot of people right now don't think it's just yourself; it's your kids too. And my daughter's now, she's starting to do videos and go, swipe down if you. She starts to say, hit the button below if you wanted to subscribe. And I'm like, she's 4 years old.
That's a call to action. Yeah, good.
Yeah, my little daughter's doing call to actions all of a sudden. So tell us other things and tell us more about. Let me see. I had a question I wrote to you. Tell us why do you focus on YouTube for monetization?
For YouTube, that's the sweet spot, essentially, where I just started finding some clients and customers, and I found out that I can really help those people that have channels, and so one leads to another to another. It was really by accident.
And do you find that YouTube is generally a younger customer? I was with Dave Ramsey a little while ago. I was speaking for him, and he said, listen, my business is broken down like this. When I do my traditional celestial radio, it's 40 to 55 years old, right? When I do YouTube, my customer is 15 to 25 years. All of them need financial advice, right?
Sure.
Do you find that it tends to be younger? Because I personally don't go to YouTube a lot for that much information, but I find that kids use it like we used to use the library and the dictionary. They just YouTube something. So give me, or maybe it's all across the board. I don't know.
I think it's all across the board, and it's becoming more and more all across the board. A lot of the clients that I'm working with have markets that are between 35 and 45, 45 and 55. My dad is telling me about this guy who's doing online guitar reviews and things like that, and he's over 70 now.
Very good.
So, yeah, it's awesome. So essentially what we do, Daymond, is we teach people how to not become reliant on the platforms at the end of the day. So what we're doing is and we get really, really good results with this, is we help people, because I love email marketing. That's my pot of gold, essentially. That's what I was searching for in my business, was to have this pot of gold of an email marketing company. And so what we do is we move people from those platforms and we embed a lot of their videos and podcasts and whatever on their blog. And then we build an email list, and we're emailing the most engaged people who are on the email list now to watch their content on their own blogging platform. And then we're showing them ads also that lead to other products that they get commissions for and such like that.
No, that's a good point. What would you suggest right now? There's a couple of tips that you can just give people right now they can just take away and they can start working on. And again, I know that I already tagged you in here in the Power Show, in the Power Talks. But
Sure.
What are some helpful tips you can give to them that people could take away right now?
Number one is to know who you're talking to. Okay. If my demographic that really resonates with my content, if they're in their 40s and 45 or so, then when I'm delivering my content, I want to be introducing, if I'm using a music example, for instance, I'm talking about Metallica, LL Cool J, and Nirvana maybe. If I'm talking to somebody who's older, I might be talking about the Doors and Led Zeppelin or something like that. I'm using the same example, but I'm using a different nostalgic trigger to make my point and to bring it home. And then to really look for a way to bridge what you're doing with your audience and your message into the affiliate products that you offer. If you're talking to women in their 20s and 30s, you're not necessarily, unless it's a very, very niche program, you're not going to be introducing products that are for like tools in a tool shop necessarily, unless it's as a gift or something like that. So make sure that they align.
What about people that, okay, so you use I think, an excellent example, LL Cool J, Nirvana, somebody this age, and then somebody else, I think you said Eagles. I'm not sure who you said, but a little bit older, right?
Sure. Yeah.
But what if you have the same image and or stuff creative that you've been working on? So, you really got the great product, you took a great shot of it, and you don't want to change that shot. You just want to change the copy. Because I'll give you an example. I'll take a picture with one of the Kardashians, and a lot of those girls are obviously really dear friends of mine. And I'll put it on Instagram, and it'll be like, you'll have majority of people we love them, inspiring, this and that. Same exact picture on Facebook.
Yeah.
Get away from those foul women. How dare you?
Oh, wow.
And it'll be odd because the content won't change. My content won't be like, I won't be saying anything about their political views or their sexuality, and I'll just say something like, I knew Kylie Jenner since she was 10 years old, running around in pajamas, and wow, look at her now. And some people will say, really, of course, we have trolls, and okay, if 1% or 2% of the world, who they hit millions and millions and millions of people, just want to be negative, that's fine. But it'll be very odd on the communication that different platforms will have towards that same exact picture, even though I'm not taking a political stance, talking sexual, talking about the latest drama, right? So what do people do in that situation?
Things are it's a really good question. Things are, I think, moving so fast in the person that you're talking to today might, have a totally different personal perception. People might have a different perception of them, tomorrow. And that's hard to match up. And then, like you say, on different platforms, different people are following you on different platforms. I don't know. I think it's hard to nail that.
And
it's really challenging.
Maybe it's a you test and you prove, because listen, I'm never going to be ashamed of who I know, whatever. Maybe I just go, okay, I get it. And then maybe my next one is when it is on Facebook, you may disagree with this. However, here is this person's accomplishments, whether we want to agree to disagree, but how can
Yeah,
you learn from it?
that's
Instead
exactly
of
it.
always just going, oh, get away, yeah, because people are
Yeah,
just so easy to throw judgment.
I think it's so supercharged right now where, you know, a little philosophical in nature, this next comment is, let's go back to judging people by their accomplishments and their personality and their character and stop with all this, other, what I believe is superficial nonsense.
I
Like you just said.
Yeah, I was on a speaking engagement with my buddies from Bombas and Bombas Socks, and it's funny, what they said, because a lot of people, I don't want people to sit here and think that you need to bend to everybody. You want to bend for people who you believe in, and you have empathy for your customer, and you love them. I was talking to Bombas the other day, and they said, with Black Lives Matter came, we and I know that they had said we always wanted to. We looked around the office and we realized that we needed to change too. And obviously, they don't have any racial issues, or I doubt they would be my partners.
Sure.
And they said we asked all the people of color and the people that are not of color in our office, and they said pick 4 or 5 organizations that help people in this segment. And it doesn't have to be BLM, because maybe they didn't like BLM for whatever reason, but they said, we want you to investigate it and make sure that the money goes towards something really good. And they put on the site, whoever they donate to, also from LGBTQ to da-da-da-da-da. And they said some of the customers, very few, said, how dare you, or whatever the case is, and Black lives don't matter, white lives matter, or Black lives or white lives matter just as much as Black lives matter. I mean, we know the whole thing where we're not saying
Sure.
Black lives matter more. And they said they fired those customers. They said, we don't want them to be part of our community. They actually said, we don't want you as a customer. Do people do that too? When you're looking at people who are pushing out content and you want to grow your business, you want to be happy to everybody, you want to take in some of the criticism and know if it's healthy criticism or is it poisonous. Do you ever fire your customers and say, or you just say, screw you, I don't care what you think, you're not the people we want?
I mean, sometimes my customers and I engage in, deeper conversation that's not business related, and we don't always agree. But you know what? They're really good people. I like working with them. If they were hard to work with, if they were doing things that I didn't like, if they were doing something that was unethical, that's when I would fire them. But me personally, I really think that you're not going to please everybody all the time. And by cutting those people off, they're going to go and now they're like extra pissed off. And now they're going to go and, trash your company even more, perhaps. I mean, I like to take the position that, hey, we might not agree, but this is what we believe in and this is what we're doing.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that. I like that approach too. Sometimes I like the people who go and trash your company because I call them cheerleaders with dirty pom-poms.
And that's true too. What do they say? All press is good press, even if it's negative?
Yeah, but listen, we've all grown up, or not even grown up. We don't even have people around us now that they're always talking shit about somebody else, and they're always saying how, whatever, man, that's just whack, and this and that, and you realize that they're jealous, and you realize whatever they're talking negative about is something you should be checking out because, oh, don't hang out with that person. All they're doing is this and that. You be like, oh, that's the new person I should be hanging out with, because they obviously, they told that person right there, shut up, you ain't shit. And I'm going about my business, and I'm going to make this happen. And you'd be like, oh, let me hang out with that person.
There's a lot of projection going on these days, I think.
Yeah, it's kind of like when I was dating, and a woman would be like, oh, I don't like her. She does this, that, that. I'd be like, oh, she does that? Well, listen,
what a
man.
Trip.
I appreciate you, man, and thank you for helping us so much with all the things that that you're doing out there. And yeah, I think that's great to get people to understand how to monetize their content without even having a physical product to sell, because that's great ways to even start. And then after you even can back it up with physical products, you already know the fundamentals to doing it.
That's right. You can back it up with physical products. You can back it up with a consultative sale and a consultative call. You can back it up with product services, whatever. Absolutely.
All right. All the best, man. Thank you, man. And I love the fact we're working with you, man. Thank
I
you, Doc.
appreciate you, Damon. Thanks for having me on.
You got it, people.
Bye-bye.
All right, there you go. There's one of my boys, John. But now I'm going to bring on my other guy, Rob. He goes under the name Ballin, Ballin. I think I had him on here one other time, but Rob really knows what he's doing. He knows how to work. If you're an influencer, maybe you may want to work with him as well. Let me try to find his bio background, because even though, when you know somebody so well that you kind of don't even think about some of the things that you know about them. All right, so here goes a little bit about Rob. He graduated from Cal Poly San Luis Obispo with a degree in finance, but pursued a career on social media instead. Started in social media about 10 years ago. That's probably when I met him, and went on a full year without making a dime. He went on for a year without making a dime, but was confident that there was some way for him to make a career out of it. Generated the power of broke to hustle even harder and build income generating opportunities. Now has 50 million followers on social media, 15 million of which are on TikTok, and works with top brands like Casper, 5-4, Beats by Dre, and is also, as a business manager and professional athletes he manages professional athletes in the NFL, MLB, and NHL. All right, so I'm going to bring on Rob really quick, and we're going to start breaking this stuff down on how you can do this stuff for yourself. There you go, Ballin, boom. Rob, what's up, man?
How you doing, my man?
All right, I'm good. So when I tell everybody, because I know immediately they probably looked you up and they saw Ballin doesn't have 50 million followers itself, they probably don't understand what that is. So when we say Ballin has 50 million, or you have 50 million followers, what does that mean?
So what it means is what we call generic accounts, and those aren't like person accounts like Daymond John or Jake Paul's or something like that. We call them generic accounts. So they'd be something like we own @style, that's a generic account. @girls, that's a generic account. So we just base the following, what we post on there, to whatever that thing. So @style is obviously fashion brands. So myself personally, I think I have 9,000 followers, but generic accounts such as Style, Girls, stuff like that, 50 million total.
How do you get those names though? Those names are very, very powerful names, and how important is it to get that name? Girls, boys, workout king, workout queen, whatever the case is.
Yeah.
Chef, excellent chef. How do you do that?
Yeah, it's again, it's starting early and knowing the people in social media. I've been on social media for about 10 years now. So me, my buddy Brandon, Brandon and Chris, we got in about 10 years ago, and we got these OG names, started in Twitter. And then, so it's knowing the right people. What we call them is OG names, is because it's really hard to get the name @Ballin. And I have it on Twitter. I have it on TikTok. It's really hard to get @Style. I have it on Instagram. I have it on TikTok. So once you're in the game for so long, you know where to go to get these OG names. Just like, yourself, if you were building another FUBU, you know exactly where to go to get shirts.
Right, that's true. Now, what about not the OG names, the new names that are coming up? @social distancing, @wear your mask, all those things. So now, after I just said that, I'm sure everybody on here is looking up every single name that they can think about.
Yeah.
So it doesn't have to be only OG names.
No.
All right. So also, let me ask you, you've been sending me some amazing things. Hassle food, hassle stuff, the beefer, that thing that cooks. I'm getting my outdoor kitchen together, the Traeger. You got to stop sending me all these grilling things, because they're going to need the jaws of life to take me out of my house in a minute, because I'm going to be cooking so much. But
hey, that's what we talked about. I gained the COVID-19, man. Woo!
That's what you call gain the COVID-19, right?
Yeah.
All right, so I want to get right into it, so people here can take away some information from you and learn from you. So why don't we get into some things on what are some simple tips you can give people right now on building their own account, or if they want to get behind, I don't call it a phantom account, the kind of accounts you have, but let's talk about building their own account.
Yeah, the generic accounts. So You know, one of the things is pretty simple. I think people should start building themselves first. I think we're in a time that where you should start building up your own community, which will help you build up your brand. So let's say, you know, D from 5'4",
Yeah.
you know, he did that exact same thing. He kind of saw, and this is where I kind of, you know, started thinking about it too, is he was building a brand, but there was nobody behind it, right? As where people can believe into it. So, you know, it took D a couple years to start building this 5'4" New Republic Grand AC, where he's, you know, with the community. So I think one of the tips is start building yourself, you know, start building, you know, what you believe in. So if I'm going to start, you know, say I'm going to build a fashion brand, I'm going to start basically building myself on looking at material on my Instagram, looking at material, looking at places I go for inspiration, looking at different colors, looking at different, you know, but also showcase that on Instagram stories, on Twitter, on LinkedIn. You know, there's so many platforms to where you can start building things. So
well, we know. Hold on, Rob. But we know that it can be a pain in the ass to, you know, especially for a female, because females obviously it depends on how they're going after their brand. But you know, they want to be made up nice. They want to look a certain way, and they don't want to look, you know, crazy. So, you know, before they have to put the camera on them, and you know, they want to make sure the shot is right for various reasons. And I get it, right?
Yep.
Do they always have to be in camera themselves, or maybe is the point of view of the material they're looking at just over their shoulder, right? And
Yes.
so, because I don't want the people to be too literal and go, hey man, even though I think it's important, everybody's brand is positioned a different way. You don't have to physically be there in, you know, with you on there, you talking politics, you doing this. How can you do it from a way where it's not tedious, where you're only getting one piece of content out every 2 days? Because you know what, you're living right now at home and you're looking like shit, and you don't feel like, you know, looking at the camera every day.
Yeah, for sure. And of course, I mean, I have a face for radio. You and I talk about this all the time, right? So it's like you have to think of creative ways to put yourself out there. So again, you could do as a point of view. You know, I do basically, you know, I manage 85 athletes. I don't have to put photos of me and my athletes all the time, but what I can do is highlight my athlete. Is I can highlight one of their games. Is I can highlight one of this. So when people come to my page, they go, oh, this guy must do something in sports without my face everywhere.
What about user generated? What about other content too? Because what I like to do sometimes, like, you know, on a Saturday and Sunday, I don't want to talk politics. I don't want to talk business, everything else, because I think that people sometimes need to just say, okay, I'm going to Daymond's page. I want to see other aspects of his life. And I'll put up my daughter, or I'll put up, you know, getting ready for the week ahead, or I'll just put up the lake. Take time for yourself. You know what I mean? What about or I'll put up a funny video that I saw of an animal doing something very smart. And what my team realized about because I love animals, what my team realized about animals is when I put out a post of saying, look how cute or look how smart this animal is, that's fine, and I've shared this many times. But if I change the wording to go, if this animal can figure it out, you know what I mean? Where are you in your life, and you're gonna figure it out? That's what entrepreneurs do.
Yeah.
And one time I had two horses. I remember they were kicking each other. They were having a horse fight, literally a horse fight. They were kicking each other, and I just wrote, when me and my partners were pitching food, this is how we would be before we went into the room to pitch. And people really resonated with that. So how can people they say, okay, I'm going to put myself on camera 25% of the time. I'm going to put over the shoulder or something 25% of the time. I'm going to put great article 25% of the time, and other content from other places. Should they come up with schedules like that so they can just start getting into a rhythm? I mean, what do you think?
I guess, you know, that's a great question. So everything should start somewhere. So you should just start somewhere. And I think one of the things in building this personal brand or building your generic pages or something like that is that dude needs to go. That comment, that guy.
No, I'm hiding that person. That person has enough time to say stuff like that. So they're obviously not learning. They're in a bad place in their life.
Bullshit. But so again, you have to be personable, right? So don't always think about, you know, I have to post about my clothes. I have to post about my brand. also do personal stuff like you were just saying. Is that animal's so cute? That's personable, because the reason being is I might walk down the street and see two horses too and be like, wow, Daymond's a normal person, right? So using your human things you do in human life, like cooking or something, be like, show yourself cooking. Doesn't always have to be about your brand. I think the more you connect on a personal level, it doesn't matter if you have 15 million followers or 500 followers. You'd rather have those 500 followers that give a shit than the 15 million that don't. So my thing is, you have to start somewhere. Don't always look for the likes. That obviously people would, this was a year ago, whatever. People still do it now. They post some, they don't get enough likes, they take it down. Fuck that. 5 people liked it, so 5 people are enjoying what you're putting out.
Got it. So when you work with companies like Casper, the mattress company, and
Yeah.
Beats by Dre, what do you mean you work with them? Like, in what capacity? What happens there?
Yeah, so what would happen is I would get their mattresses or their headphones and place them organically with the brand, with an athlete. So I never want anything to look like an ad, and I will never put anything in somebody's hands that they don't like. So obviously with the athletes, it was great to put Beats by Dre in their ear. So we would have them basically have it in their ear, and then them walking out to practice like that, super organic, practice time. Today's the day we go with pads. Off week, but still getting my workout in. Everything's organic. When you start seeing stuff that, customers now or people now have already seen what's an ad and what's not an ad. And the way I create them, the way, my partners create them, the way a lot of people create them, you can create them where it doesn't look like an ad, but still gets in people's minds. And that's the best way. So with Casper, we'd send beds out, and we'd literally have the athletes laying on the bed and saying, just got done with practice, and just tag at Casper. Once you do that simple thing, people are wondering, what the hell is Casper? Is it the bed? Is it the sheet? Is it the pillow? Is it the wall? Is it the shoes? Let me hit that tag. Oh, it's a bed that gets shipped to my house.
Let me ask you something. So we all noticed that somebody said some racial slurs or whatever it was on here. I'm curious, because you'll have a lot of those type of people on in any doing type of stuff, whether it's they're talking politics or they're talking about really nasty things.
Yeah.
Because you work behind the scenes with people, with the Instagrams of the world, what would the average person here do on their site or on their thing if they start seeing a lot of negative comments? Do they block them or do they report them? And if they report them enough, how many people, like if everybody right now reported that person, would that person's account be frozen?
Yeah, it'd go away, because you could basically say on there, when you report somebody, they were threatening. But here's my take on it. And, this goes with a grain of salt, people take it or not. We're in a time right now where you don't have to give a shit about what that dude says, right? It's what you think and what, you're willing to do. My suggestion is, you don't reply to it. You just block them. See ya. You can never say anything on my thing again. I don't even know who you are. Because here's the thing is, if we spend so much time on that, are you spending any time getting better? No.
No, 100%. No, but what I'm saying is you want to take one action so that person doesn't take away everybody else's from paying attention. I actually love, unless they're saying something disrespectful, I don't get offended by it, but other people may. And other people who may, value me or value say, oh, why are you saying that? I have no problem with that. I actually love when people do that, because, over the course of my life, whenever I found haters or people who do that stuff, I found that when they're spending so much time thinking about you, like you said, they're not doing anything to get themselves, go anywhere in life. But what you do is you just keep passing people like that in life.
Right.
I've passed thousands, maybe millions of people like that in life. And, it's funny, and I watched them spend their time majoring in minor, and minor was, they were spending majority of their time on minor things, such as trying to piss people off and get attention, and things of that nature. I just want to know what was the easiest way to
Yeah.
address it, because if they always got to set up a new account
Yeah.
every time everybody blocks them, then sooner or later, before they can even say anything, they're just setting up more accounts, and maybe once in a while they'll go, oh damn, maybe I should stop doing that. I'm wasting my time.
And plus, IG will ban them too, their IP address, where they can't even sign up an account. So yeah, block, report. You know, again, it's like when I see shit like that, it just, the times that we're at right now, it's just like, come on, man. Like,
let me ask something else. A lot of my followers here and the people here, they are a lot of people in business, and I keep getting a lot of that. I wouldn't have made any money until I found Forex trading something. A lot of those robots like that.
yeah.
What do you do in that? I mean, how do people even do that? How do they buy robots and set them? I'm just really curious about that, because I want people here to know how how this is happening. How do people get robots like that, and what is the process?
Again, there's some smart people out there, and I think if they use themselves, it's just like the highest drug dealer, right? That's a smart dude. He's running a big corporation. If he put those smarts over at Apple, he'd be running shit, right? So it's the same thing with these bots, guys. Is they build a program until it gets shut down. You know,
really,
they build this program. They'll just let it run until it gets shut down. So that's what it is. It's just a bot. It just runs, and it runs off people's hashtags. So if you do a certain hashtag, or if you say a certain thing, it'll come on there and just put that thing on. It just, I mean, look at all the, at all the big pages, you get them too, but the big pages, it says Forex or don't look at my profile. I see, stuff like that. So it's just a program. It gets shut down. I mean, not something I ever believed in doing. So
right. All right. So I got another question here. So I was sharing with people the other day. I said, you looked at 90 agents from CAA got fired, and 250 people from CAA got furloughed. That means that there is, and everybody here with a product, a service, a content, or whatever they do, that means there is approximately 250 people in Hollywood, before you talk about any other agents that got shut down, 250 people in Hollywood with massive Rolodexes of stars, celebrities, athletes, entertainers, actors, all that kind of stuff, who don't have any work now, and they have, Rolodexes. I'm dating myself, Rolodexes, but contact, right?
These people are going, what do you mean about Rolodexes?
Context, right? Now on the flip side, you have all these actors, actresses, not athletes, because some of them are playing, but music artists who can't go on Broadway, they can't go on tour, they can't make any money. And we all know that a lot of these music artists are they're living beyond their means. So if they were making $5 million a year on tour and they were already in debt, they're making zero right now. How do you utilize, because this seems like what you did at an early stage when things were going great. So now I know you're just like really racking it in. How do you basically How do you basically say, listen, let me contact all these people who can get paid because they can eat what they kill, and they all have the contacts to all these people who are not making any money right now, and get my product or my startup or my services out to them and cut them a little piece, and we all live. How do people go about doing that? 'Cause I know you're an expert in doing that.
In contacting the people, or
the agents to the artists or whoever it is, to utilize and make it a win-win for everybody.
Yeah.
Like, what are other ways that you think you can do that? Do they DM them first? Do they go out? Like, how do they do that?
Of course. So if you have, it's pretty simple, right? Is you need to engage. Social media, the reason why it's called social media is to be social. And I've gotten a lot of contacts with brands and celebrities and athletes and stuff by really engaging in what they have to say. And what I mean by that is, so say there's an agent. I guarantee that agent doesn't have 50 million followers. I guarantee that agent's on LinkedIn. Engage, find them, engage with them on their post to where it doesn't seem like another DM. hey, I have an opportunity for you. Well, fuck, everybody has an opportunity, right? So
Right.
the key is to engage, to really feel about, to talk to them, if they post something, engage exactly to what the post is, like you really care. Get a feeling to where they're seeing you, and then come up to them and say, you know what, I might have an opportunity. Can I shoot you a DM? Of course you can. Go ahead. So the key is remembering social media is to be social, not just to sit there and say, hey, check your DM. Check your DM.
I like what the on the Storytime box said. Yep, showing a genuine interest makes a difference.
Yep.
And I can't tell you how many times I may have posted something where, let's say it was my anniversary to my wife, or let's say I literally have done this. I've been saying rest in peace to somebody who just passed, and in the comments somebody's like, check your DM. I got a way you can make money. I'm like, I will never deal with that person because of what they just said during this time of grievance, or during this time. Hey, happy birthday to my daughter Minka. Yo, you want to make some real money?
Yeah.
No, I want to wish happy birthday to my daughter Minka. That's what I wanted to do.
Yep. 100%.
Yeah, so I think it could be hurtful if you try to engage in the wrong way. You don't have authenticity.
And that's what it is right now you need to be authentic. And like I said, you don't always have to show your face. You don't always have to, talk about your brand. You just got to be authentic. I mean, if you're going for a walk because you feel overweight, go do it. Maybe you'll help somebody else by posting that, right? So it's just all authenticity. Right now is a hard time for everybody, right? But it's also a great time for everybody. And I hate to say it. I hate to say anything great about this time.
Right.
But if you have $10, you can get a GoDaddy domain. You can get a Shopify for free. I mean, for 14 days, I think it is. Daymond, is that 14 days Shopify? Yeah.
Yep.
So a domain for $10, a Shopify page for free for 14 days. I mean, you can and literally learn everything you need to learn to build an online business on YouTube. So it's just like, with yourself, with FUBU. You didn't invent the t-shirt. I'll never forget when you told me this. You're like, I didn't invent the t-shirt.
Right.
I invented the t-shirt during the times, right? It's just like, it's just, I go back to talking about 5'4" and Menlo and stuff, but they didn't invent clothes. They just invented it. They just made it easier for guys to get it.
Right.
So it's just like, there's so much opportunity out there. And I'm not saying go out there, fucking sell masks. That's not an opportunity. That's helping people, yes, but there's so much opportunity. And people say, well, drop shipping's dead. Amazon's the biggest drop shipper in the world, and you guys are making them billions. They don't own shit. That's drop shipping.
That's true. And last but not least, it just goes back to what I opened up the conversation with John. I'm just curious. I'm going to start asking people this. Did you sell anything at all as a kid in school?
Actually, I did. I sold pencils. And I remember.
Oh, like me, yeah.
No, but listen to this. Yeah, I didn't get beat up by. I remember that story. What was it?
I started trying to sell the pencils to the boys. They beat me up, so I ended up selling to the girls. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. So they used to have these NFL pencils, right? This isn't an NFL. There's Monte Carlo, but they used to have pencils with NFL teams on them. And so I remember I used to grab a packet of them. And I think it came with like 15 for like $1 or something like that. And I would sell them for $0.25 a pencil. And just be in and all my friends loved it. They give me $0.25, they get their favorite team and right away, but.
And you know what? I think that's going to be my new thing. Tell your kid to sell stuff in school. Now, I wonder
some kids do sell their stuff in school and they get the wrong stuff.
Yeah, but no, I ain't talking about that. But why do they get in trouble for selling stuff in school? Because I just thought about it. The schools love to pimp out our children to go sell candy bars on the street to the creepy looking guys going door by door and selling raffle tickets and selling everything else. But why do they penalize our kids for selling good stuff, whether it's Pokemon cards, whether it's sports cards, Why do they penalize our kids for selling it in school? But yet in school, you got to sell everything to raise money for the team's uniforms. You
Jerseys.
got to
Yeah.
sell raffle. Then when you go to the Girl Scouts, you got to stand out in front of stores and sell cookies. But then you get penalized for the system is against us, Rob. I'm telling you, man, fight the system.
Fight the system. Yeah. Hey, I'm telling you, it's like, you know, we talk about this a lot. You know, you definitely do need education because I wouldn't know how to read or write, you know, without early stages of education. But a lot of things that I learned, Daymond, honestly, was on the fly, you know, in the trenches. YouTube. I mean, there's so many opportunities to learn it. I mean, do I like the school system? I think when you're 18 and you don't know what you're going to do and your life is just all over the fucking place, it might help because you're just not grown up yet. But there's so much opportunity to learn certain things. I mean, yeah, if you're going to be a doctor, go to school, please, right?
Yeah, please.
If you're going to do that, yeah, I don't want you fixing my broken leg, you know, from YouTube, right? But, you know, I think there's so much opportunity for people to start an e-commerce business, to start a shoe business, to start a t-shirt business, a hat business. So, especially the young kids, with all these kids being so digital, I mean, I think they need to start pushing that more in school.
Absolutely. I think everybody in here said, after I said that, they said the schools just ain't getting their slice of the pie.
Yeah.
Or, you know what I mean? But it's all good. So thank you, Rob, man, as always.
Hey, Daymond, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
So, and I know you ask questions towards everybody, but I wanted to get your opinion on something.
Sure.
So what would you tell 26 years old or 21-year-old Daymond John right now in this time? Like, I don't know, maybe you're in college, maybe you're not in college. What would you tell 21-year-old Daymond John right now?
I would say, Daymond, you know, what are your strengths and what are your weaknesses? I would say that I can guarantee you, Daymond, that this is going to happen again sooner or later in one way or another. And where you're at now, are you happy? And if you're not happy, have you put down the fundamentals and the bricks and or the things you needed to do to create change for the rest of your life? Because at 25 years old, you got your entire life ahead of you. Hopefully, Daymond, you don't have, you were smart enough to protect yourself and not have another child, not have a child at the time. You should be tied. You should not be all over the place. Maybe you have a love interest, but you should be focused and be obsessed with finding out who you are right now and what are you going to do, Daymond? Are you going to, because, and I say this to everybody, and just like I said to my daughters, up until the age of 20, you're going to be somebody's child. I want you all to live to 100 years old. So if you're somebody's child up until 20 years old, you're going to be somebody's husband, wife, father or mother, grandmother, grandfather. What are you going to do for 10 years at least, from 20 to 30, to just be yourself? You don't know who you are yet. You really don't. So what are your assets? What are your liabilities? How can you keep some kind of day job? And how can you put down and educate yourself and put down the seeds that are going to grow to create the rest of your life, right? And do not get locked up with anybody. And I think that hit me right around 15 years ago. I saw a guy that we went to high school together. I never really saw him after that. And he was like, yeah, well, I decided, because the movie Cocktail had came out with Tom Cruise years ago, and he was slipping the bottles. And I guess today you'll call it a mixologist, whatever you call these people,
Quit
right?
dating yourself, man.
Right. And he was like, and he had a big business, this guy. And I said, well, how'd you do it? You went for finance? You went for this? He said, no. I realized I needed to get out of Hollis, Queens. I wanted to travel and see the world, but I didn't have any money. So I went to bartending school. It took me like 6 months. I went to bartending school, and I started to travel the world as a bartender. What I did was, he worked for the Four Seasons, or one of them. He said I would travel with the weather. I would go to Australia, then I would go to Hawaii. I spent 6 months. I would travel with the weather. And he said, and the people that stayed in the Four Seasons, or whatever the brand of that hotel was, just like I do, they frequented those hotels when they went into those cities. And he said, I did that for 20 years, and those guys would sit at my bar, and those women would sit at my bar, those businessmen. I would get advice from them all the time. I would listen to their problems. I was their shrink. And he said, then I decided I decided to come up with a company or an idea, and I raised $20 million off of the edge of my bar. And he said, so check this out, Daymond. I never went to college, but from 18 to 35, I surfed the best surfs. I dated, what I wanted to do. I stayed in shape. I lived in the best countries. And all I was doing was being a bartender. And then I got mentored at the same time while I was pouring drinks. And then I was there for everybody's problems. And I got $20 million worth of funding when I decided that I didn't want to do that anymore. Now I got a lovely family and a big-ass company.
I love it.
And we're sitting here overthinking it. How do I get into Harvard? And this dude is living his best life, So, the 20-something-year-old Daymond John, I just gotta, I gotta look at myself and see where my opportunities are that I can get into and not lock myself over anybody and get to know who I want to be up until 30, 35, or 40. And then hopefully I would have already paid the bills by the day job and my investment would have grown. And then I decided if I want to bring somebody else in my life.
Yeah. And that's exactly it is, I know we got to get going and stuff, but I think I'd like to end this off on a good note is, when I first met Daymond about 10 years ago, and, D, this is props to you, man. You let me in your office. Me and Brandon went down there. We were talking to you about some stuff. But I'll never forget when I left that office what you said. And you told me, you said, there's never any traffic on the extra mile. And I never really started thinking about that until I really started pinpointing on where I was going to go. And what I started to do within making, dealing with all these brands and dealing with, all these athletes that I do right now, I never forget there's never any traffic on the extra mile that you told me. So I always make one more call.
Yeah.
I always do one more text. I always do one more email. And I've kept you on here for one more minute. So, no, and I'm serious.
I get
it. It's just that little piece of advice. And one of the other things is when I wake up every morning, and I've been broke, D, we've talked about this. I've been broke. You've been broke. One thing that that I've done that has changed my attitude and the way I feel is I wake up and I literally tell myself that I am a good person, that I'm a good businessman, that I'm a good friend,
and that you deserve it. A lot of people don't think that they deserve what they have, or that if they do any better and they get any better, that they deserve it because somebody, for some reason, said having money is bad, or you don't deserve it, or why not me? How come you? And they made them feel guilty of their success.
Yep. Yeah, 100%. So, D, like I said, is you give me a lot of knowledge. You don't even know it. I mean, I know we text every once in a while. I know you're busy. I'm busy and stuff. But, I just think right now is a good time. People really need to focus, reach out to myself. I'll answer any questions, talk on Daymond's post. When he posts stuff, ask him questions. He does reply. Might not reply that day, but, he's filming Shark Tank right now. He's got a lot of stuff. But, I mean, don't be afraid to reach out and ask for help, to talk to somebody. I mean, I imagine you ask for help from people. I mean,
absolutely, all the time.
Yeah.
I'm still seeking out mentors. And listen, I'm asking for help from you guys, from you and John, because people can hear me ramble all the time. And after you heard the damn FUBU in the house story 100 times, okay, Daymond, tell me something else. And that's why I bring other people on to give you other insights at the same things that I'm saying, but another person doing it in another different way. Because, after you heard my story already, you heard it enough. All right, shut the hell up, Daymond. Let me hear it from somebody else that you respect. So all the best, man. Yeah,
you too, bro. And thank you for having me on. Like I said, if anybody needs, have any questions, shoot me a DM, whatever. Reply on Daymond's thing. This isn't a plug towards Daymond, but his last book, like literally, if you want a power shift, just think of that. You don't even have to read it. Just think of power shift. Seriously, just think.
Yeah, no, I get it.
Shift, right?
Yeah, read it by its cover.
Yeah, that's it.
All right, Rob. Love you, brother. Talk to you later.
All right, later.
Yeah, that's my man. And listen, if you notice all the people I bring on, I bring on people that we all kind of think the same. And I wanted to make sure that I had stopped Rob because I didn't want him to get cut off and then that awkward feeling. But yeah, Rob, I'm probably going to bring him back on. And thank you to all that are on here that follow me and check me out. I see Eric Thomas is on here and the Beauty Shark and my man Chauncey, the Dope Fiend. Everybody's on here. And listen, Eric Patrick Thomas. Sorry, Eric, I forget to put that middle name in all the time. But thank you all. And listen, have a great week. I might do one of these late at night, like probably when I'm by the fireplace talking about more casual stuff. But I hope you learned from so many people that I had on here today, and I'll talk to you later. Peace.